All right. Great morning, great evening to you in India. And thanks, guys, whether you're watching the recording or if you're on the live version, we just want to welcome you here to what we call our 12-week year support group, really supporting you through what we call 2020 vision and having your best year, your best decade, ultimately, ever. My name is Lois Kofi. I'm based here in beautiful Southern California, although it's a rainy, gloomy day. And it kind of is interesting because it kind of goes along with what we have going on in the world right now. At the time of this recording, we're having a pandemic. At least that's what the media is calling it. And I'm not here to actually feed the fear. I'm actually here to transmute that fear-mongering energy that's out there in the universe right now because of the media, and talk about something much more positive today. Today we're going to talk about joy. And why would we talk about something like that when, we're a 12-week year support group, we're talking about vision, having your best year ever, and well, everything that's going on right now is a great example of that. We have so much distraction in life. There's so much negativity. There's so many things vying for our attention, whether it's social media, whether it's the media, whether it's, the political landscape, because we're in election year here in the US. None of that has anything to do with your success. In fact, it is just one big old distraction. Last week we talked about adversity quotient. We talked about emotional intelligence, and really a lot of emotional intelligence comes from within and choosing joy, choosing positivity, choosing better. And so Deepak, my partner here, he wrote an amazing book. I've read it twice, cover to cover. In fact, I'm now so inspired, especially with what's going on right now. I want to read it once every month, just as a tune-up, check-up from the neck up, but also from my heart, and really, really being present and conscious, because only we can choose our emotions, and basically 90% of our reality is created by our subconscious mind. And so I know that your book fueled my subconscious mind in a very positive way. And so I'm going to just interview you today, Deepak, and we'll see kind of where it goes. And then hopefully those of you that are on the live call, we can, open it up for quick questions. So Deepak, let me ask you, what inspired you to write the Joyful Quotient?
Thank you, Louis, for those kind words. And this book actually is not a single inspiration. And there have been multiple small inspirations throughout my entire life over the last many years, which kind of coagulated like drops and drops and drops, and went into this book. So each of the stories and events, whichever I've written there, has a memory associated with it. For example, the first story which I've mentioned about a real place I went in the north of India, and a real encounter with a dog, and how it kind of turned me. Also, the Israel-Palestine is a real story I had read long ago. Incidents related to my dad, incidents related to some of the incidents I had at Toastmasters and at BNI. So actually, this book is a series of very, very small inspirations I got through many years, and that kind of really condensed into this particular book. So that's the clear definition of the inspiration of the behind this book.
Sorry about that. So that's great. I love how things come to be. There's always a story behind the story, and your inspiration is now come to life in print. So what are the founding principles for those who haven't read it yet, which is probably most everyone because you just published it in February? What are the founding principles of the Joyful Quotient?
So while I have written a lot of practice sessions in terms of how not to react, how to respond, how to accept, etc., but the founding principles is really the practice, and this is a fourfold practice which has been enumerated at various junctures in this book. And the first is of a relaxation technique, where one learns to go deeper within oneself and just relax, oneself from the head to the toe. That's the first basic technique. And then the second one is meditation, where you go deeper within and you kind of dissolve yourself and try to expand your consciousness, to cover. The third is rejuvenation, which is where you let go of your past and you let go of any past tendencies, that we have, because there's so much of our past which is hounding us and which is trapping us. It's sometimes very difficult to let go of it, and mere theory will not work. There has to be a systematic practice around it. So this is the heartfulness rejuvenation technique, which the first one, all these four practices are from the heartfulness system: relaxation, meditation. One of them I have done in the Facebook live, and third is rejuvenation, where we learn to let go of anything past that is holding us on an ongoing basis. And the last one is the connecting within, where we learn how to go within and connect to that infinite source. So these are practices, it's not theories. It's what I like about these four particular practices are they are doable and they are achievable. The book is based on these practices, while the book does talk about various other things that we all know about, as I said, in terms of acceptance, surrender, in terms of how to enable the true joy within ourselves. But a theory actually is incomplete without a systematic practice that we can have around ourselves, which can enable the theory to fructify. It's very easy to, to say, okay, be joyous. So it's very easy to say, do this, do that. But that's only theory. We have been hearing this right from our childhood, right? So it's only theory unless there is something deep down which breaks and which kind of connects to you. A theory is of no use, so we all know what's to be done, but still we don't do it. And we all know a lot of right things to be done. So why is it we don't do it? Because of this particular past which is holding on to us. So it is said that in a conscious thought, we have a lot of thoughts around the day, and it's quite well known that we have close to 60,000 thoughts in the day in the conscious mind. But what is not known, that is in the subconscious mind, we have close to 3 or 4 million thoughts. So it's almost like a huge ocean trying to kind of pull us back. Our subconscious is so strong that unless we have some systems which reprogram it, we can never be joyous. And that's the basic founding principles of the heartfulness relaxation, the heartfulness meditation, the rejuvenation, and the connecting within. These four practices really are the core founding principles of the book.
Well, and you just reminded me that it's so powerful, because so many of us are on autopilot and just hamster on a wheel and going through our day to day. And you really help people stop and reflect and go through that process, instead of just like, I grew up with a very stoic German family, and it was just like, just suck it up, buttercup, just push through, just keep going. We were not taught relaxation. In fact, that was kind of frowned upon, except on maybe on Sunday. And I know you helped me, and I actually was so fortunate to write your foreword. You gave me and Didier, my husband, the honor. And I want to share a quick story with our audience. When I first met you, obviously I was intrigued by you're so calm. It's your name is Deepak, so it just reminded me of Deepak Chopra, right? It just, you speak, and it just right away is very calming. And you told me a little bit about what you did with the inner child technique, and how oftentimes our past childhood traumas, things of that nature, hold us back. And you took me through a healing technique called the inner child technique. And it was last summer, actually. And I know that it shifted something within me that was holding me back from accomplishing a major goal. And literally within, I'd say it was about 2 weeks, my husband and I, like, the heavens parted, the gates opened, and we made a decision to move to California. And I don't think it was a coincidence. I don't think it was just happenstance. I know that part of that was relaxation. You took me through the heartfulness meditation. It rejuvenated me to the point where I was able to connect within and go to that place of truth and authenticity, and like saying, what the heck, why am I waiting on this? So it was like full speed ahead, and there was, you know, a few other factors in there. However, I'd like for you to speak to that. You know, when you go through these 4 steps, which is more or less what I think you did, right, with the inner child technique, how have you seen a lot of those paradigm shifts and things just like the stars aligning and things just becoming congruent and happening faster? Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. So a lot of people have gone through the Healify, which is the program that I run on healing and reprogramming the mind, through the subconscious. So these programs, a lot of people have gone through it and experienced dramatic shifts, dramatic shifts in their personal lives, because when even if there is a small change in your past, I'm not saying, to even change the 4 million thoughts, but even if there's a small change in your subconscious, imagine what it can do to your conscious. So um, I've had a person who was unable to get married for many years, and she went through a series of 10 sessions, and within 3-4 months she got married now, and she completely did not sit, because the whole mind changed and the environment changed around her. Fear of cats, those are very simple. The phobias are, of course, very simple to do it. That just causes a few sittings, but there are a lot of other complicated cases I have taken, and it takes a series of time, but you have a huge dramatic it's a lot of satisfaction I get. If you ask me, I also do leadership training, I also do a lot of things, but I get a lot of satisfaction in running Healify, because I can actually see people getting transformed. So that's how I love to keep doing it.
Well, and that's why I loved partnering with you, because I'm definitely more the no nonsense, time management, structure, affirmations, you know, practical steps to getting more done in less time, which is great. And yet I see a lot of people who are still, you know, holding themselves down, and reprogramming your subconscious mind takes more than just reading a book. It takes more than affirmations, in my experience anyway. So I really appreciate you and so grateful for our partnership. So I had another question for you. Where does one begin his or her journey towards joy? Even let's say they read your book or they don't. Can you speak to that? Where does one begin with that journey towards joy?
So, this particular answer, and it's there in the book. Now, while the answer is there in the book, the story behind this answer is not there in the book. Around 5 years ago, I was supposed to go on a trek with a childhood friend of mine. He's called Jayesh, and he lived in Pune. And we were supposed to go on this beautiful trek together, mountainous trek. And somehow, a few weeks before the trek, I had to cancel my trip, because of some reason. And I called him up and I said, "Hey, friend, I'm really sorry. Uh, I hope you're not disturbed, but I have to kind of cancel this particular trip." And he replied something which stuck on to me for the last many years, and it actually is part of the questions in the book. It's also part of the seminars that I conduct at various places, and I jokingly give a lot of credit to him. Although he said it very unconsciously, he said, "It's very difficult to disturb me." Now, I don't know why he said that, but it blew me. In fact, I remember I was driving a car and I almost crashed into something. It just blew me out of my mind. And I run these particular sessions at various places, and I ask people, "Are you happy?" And people will say, yes, etc. Whatever the case. And then I tell them that this is not the right question. If you want to measure a joyful quotient, you need to ask a question: how easy is it to disturb me? How easy is it to disturb me? Very powerful question. He did it unknowingly, knowingly, I don't know, but it hit me like a rock. And I do this at various sessions, various seminars. Is there as part of the book. This particular question, of course, is there in the book, although the story is not there behind it. And I make people write, uh, things, people, and events that disturb me in life. And in fact, the listeners, you all can note down. Okay, so today I have an accident. I'm disturbed. Today my spouse shouted at me. I'm disturbed. Today my children disobeyed me. I'm disturbed. Okay, fine. 6 months down the line, I had the same accident. Am I disturbed or not? 6 months down the line, my spouse shouted at me. Today I'm not disturbed. 6 months I'm not disturbed. So you actually can measure a joyful quotient by this question, not by the direct question of are you joyous. So you have to make it. So in fact, what I train people is you have to make it more and more difficult for the world to disturb you. You have to make it more and more difficult. So the world is trying to disturb you in various manners. If you can look at that way, you have to create more and more hurdles. Okay, fine. Today you did this, no problem. I'm not disturbed today because there's only one person we can all change, and that's ourselves. We can't change our children, we can't change our loved ones. So you can never, we can never say how they will react and how they will behave and how the environment will behave. So this is, and this is a very practical question. How easy is it to disturb me? And I keep doing this. I keep listing it down, and you try to keep beating it. Every 6 months, 4 months, it's fine. So today, something happened. I'm disturbed. It's fine. But 6 months later, it shouldn't. I should be in a different frame of mind, and that means you have improved on your joyful quotient. So in fact,
Wow.
I would suggest, the viewers, whether they read my book or not, if you really want to start somewhere, it's just here. You know, things, people, and events that disturb me. Complete the sentence, complete the paragraph, complete the page. Things, people, and events that disturb me, and just keep writing down for 5 minutes, 7 minutes. Note it down, keep a record of it, and every one month or 2 months, you try to reduce it. You have to try to reduce that list and not add to the list. So,
Wow. Wow, you just gave me an idea. Oh my gosh, because that's what you're talking about. It could be called emotional intelligence. However, you could also call it joyful quotient. Would you say they're kind of the same thing, right? Okay, I'm just processing this out loud. In my daily compass and guide tool that's inside of our private group, and I work on that with all my clients. Would you recommend, maybe I could, at the end of the day, I encourage everyone to reflect. What went well today? What maybe didn't go so well? What can I improve on tomorrow? Another question might be, how many times was I disturbed today?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because it's all about bringing the subconscious into the conscious and being aware. I know it sounds cheesy. Awareness is the first step, so you can change from within.
And not just how many times, what is it that disturbed you? We need to understand, what or who is it, that disturbed you. And that will, and just the awareness of this will give you a lot of strength and power over that particular, event or object or whatever it is, Criticism,
Wow.
today somebody criticized, I got disturbed, which is fine, no problem. Today is a reality. But I need to work. I need to ensure, 1 month down the line, the same person criticizes, I have no problem at all. So you need to keep, working on it.
I'm almost thinking we need to do a part 2 on this, because what I've seen over the years, I've been in health and fitness, for example, and I've studied addiction and coping mechanisms. I've lost family members to alcoholism, and you see how people, instead of having this awareness and asking myself who or what disturbed me today, and just sitting with it and observing with it, instead they might turn to chocolate cake or bonbons on the couch or a glass of wine or a bottle of wine. Or you see where I'm going with this? There's that, I don't want to be conscious because it hurts.
Yes.
I choose to feel sadness, and I don't like that. So I'm just going to medicate it with something. We, in America, we have the largest pharmaceutical addiction in the world, and we rely on a magic pill or something to just numb our pain. Opioid addiction is on the rise. Suicide is increased. I mean, it's I'm passionate about this, and I wish we had some more of what you're talking about in the everyday world.
Absolutely. Facing your fears, facing yourself, and again, that's part of the book, facing your fears, facing yourself, and facing the situations it's a very simple technique again of, slowly creating a very strong, joyful quotient, within yourself.
Which isn't easy, right? I mean, it's not for the faint of heart. You know,
Yeah.
it takes that self-reflection is something that, you know, Jim Rohn said, you know, he's one of the greatest sales trainers of all time. He always said, spend 30 minutes a day in reflecting. Warren Buffett is a bazillionaire. I'm being a little, you know, exaggerating a little bit, but I think someone told me the other day that he reflects like 6 hours a day. Like,
Wow.
whoa. You know, no wonder he knows how to invest and how to make more billions, is because he reflects, and he's coming from that place of joyful quotient, I think, quite often.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm going to open up for questions because we have 5 minutes left. Do you ladies have any questions, comments? You're here, so take advantage of this time. And I think you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'll share. I was at a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I guess it was kind of an icebreaker. We all shared what our pet peeves were. And so we were all getting angry and frustrated at it. And I thought, you know, they don't have to be our pet peeve. And I didn't like feeling that negative. And it was all giving the other person control or power for whatever that pet peeve was that they were doing. And you can't control that. So I just thought that was interesting, going along with what you were talking about. And I really try and not be controlled by what somebody else does. Don't let my feelings be controlled by that. But my question was, I have little to no experience with meditation. So where would one start or get some information or some help? You know, just going online, that can be lots of different ways that people do it.
Deepak, I'll let you go first, but Mary, I have a very, very powerful referral for you that's right there in Las Vegas.
So we have a website called heartfulness.org. I'll chat it out, and there are master classes there. 1 hour master class which will train you on how to meditate. And
I typed it in the chat. Oh good.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. And it has a master class. So now coming to your question, you can actually go through the script of, you know, the meditation technique and practice it online, you know, then and there. We also have an app, a mobile app called HeartsApp, HEARTS app, available on Android as well as on Apple. And this too, I've put it in the chat. And this again is your mobile app which has all the scripts, and it will enable you to go through the entire process of, you know, meditation. I've also conducted a small session online for the 12-week year group. So that's also recorded, and it's there in the Facebook.
Yeah, we did that meditation, gosh, was it a month or 2 ago? So he recorded it. It's inside the private group. And then Mary, I'll find out. My meditation, it's called Ascension. It's through the Bright Path. Some of the most powerful teachers they're based in Vegas, but they also live in Spain half the year, because that's where a lot of the mastery and the teaching is. So I'll find out. And if you ever want to go to just a free class and check it out, it totally changed my life.
Awesome.
Summer, did you have anything?
Not really. I'm just kind of taking it all in. No, it was really good just to listen to it. And I think very, like you had said, very timely with everything going on. I found it very interesting. Yes, just, you know, little small tweaks with the subconscious could have, you know, really life-changing impacts when you look at the percentage of thoughts subconsciously versus the percentage of thoughts consciously. So just, yeah, really interesting stuff. I took some notes and am going to do some looking. And I think too, I'm going to do what you had talked about, Lois, on those daily compass sheets I have on there, you know, how many times and what was it that disturbed me today? Just to kind of, you know, work on reducing those. I think that's something I can easily put into, maybe not easily, but it's something I'm going to work on putting into my daily routine.
And that'll be something that we can now add into our work together, 100%. So Deepak, really quickly, as we close here, can you share on your screen, how does one purchase your book or have access to it?
Oh yeah, sure. So it's available right here on Amazon. It's very simple. It's called the Joyful Quotient. And it's there on Amazon.com also. I've opened the in because com will not open. And this is how it looks. It's as simple as that. And you can purchase it right away. For Kindle Unlimited, it's free, of course. And um, the entire package is written in this book. So this is how it looks.
Awesome. Wonderful. And keep in mind as we close, guys, especially those of you that are on the live version, if you have any other specific topics, if you want to dig deeper in this topic, we're very fluid. We want this to be about you. You know, we're here to serve and support and inspire and educate and empower you with the tools that will guide you to the highest and best version of yourself. So if you want to message me privately, or even comment in the private group on anything that you want to talk about next week, or if you want to dig deeper on this, just let us know.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week. And again, as always, bring a friend or two. People get 2 weeks for free if they want to join in. We'd love to have more people join us.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day, guys.
Thank you so much.
Be well.
Thank you.
Be joyful.
Bye-bye.
Bye.